Well, Monaco 2023 is in the books, but the fallout is a rather spectacular one from the slippery surface of the street circuit. But the damage that has been done has perhaps been most costly earlier in the weekend when Sergio Perez and Lewis Hamilton had their little trips into the wall. The removal of their cars has exposed the underside, the floor of the vehicles, and everybody has had a good glimpse at what the new W14 and the RB19 have quite literally underneath the hood. I'm Ollie Wilson for GPFans, and this is what we learnt from seeing the underside of the Mercedes and the Red Bull over the Monaco Grand Prix weekend. Remember, for all of your latest breaking Formula 1 news, you can go to gpfans.com or GPFans Global on all your social media outlets. And don't forget to give us a quick subscribe down below to stick with us here at the channel throughout the whole of the season. But what, if anything, did we learn from the underside of the Mercedes and the Red Bull at Monaco this weekend just gone? Now, in Formula 1, it's not the visible parts of the aerodynamic surfaces that determine the car's performance. The most crucial aspect actually comes from the underside of the car, the floor. For the current generation of cars, the ground effect is crucial, with teams generating over 60% of the total downforce beneath the floor of the car. Therefore, the design of the floor's underside is essential for teams. The underside of the car is filled with secrets. Toto Wolff was not particularly pleased with the marshals in Monaco. Hamilton's W14 swung back and forth while being lifted by the crane, exposing the floor for everyone to see. In the past few seasons, we haven't had many opportunities to catch a glimpse of the floor of the car, as the marshals carefully removed stranded cars from the circuit in a way that made it difficult for photographers to capture the finer details, essentially tossing them directly into the tow trucks. But what does such a floor reveal? That really is the focus of this GPFans Special today. The first thing that stands out is the wooden plank. Teams can immediately see how the car reacts to road irregularities or bumps. It's especially interesting to observe how Perez's car responds, as the Milton Keynes-based team has not experienced any issues with porpoising. Red Bull Racing, of course, has ground effect mastermind Adrian Newey at the helm. He is the go-to person in the paddock when it comes to refining the ground effect. Monaco was a true delight for aerodynamics enthusiasts. Not only did we get to see the floor of the new W14, but also directly the floor of Perez's RB19. This allowed everyone to compare the photos side by side and immediately understand why the Red Bull is incredibly fast this season. Of course, teams can analyse the photos, but Formula 1 cars are so complex in terms of aerodynamics that it is impossible to replicate everything accurately based on just a couple of snapshots. It's evident though that the RB19's floor is much more complex than that of the W14. Perez's floor seems almost 3D, more advanced, while Mercedes' floor is much flatter and simpler. We have added airflow lines to visualize how the airflow in one area interacts with that in another part of the floor. Ted Kravitz even described Mercedes and Ferrari's floors as prehistoric when compared to Red Bull Racing's design. The floor fences are quite curved to promote airflow outwash, but they also generate vortices. One of the biggest challenges for aerodynamic specialists is to ensure that these vortices persist and travel the full length of the floor without breaking or causing loss. How the Red Bull floor deals with these airflows vortices is simply in a league of its own. Now you might wonder why teams don't simply replicate the floor of the Red Bull on a 1-to-1 scale. It's just not that easy, unfortunately, because the floor is connected to the rest of the car. However, it is possible that we'll see Red Bull's floor design on other cars later, perhaps in the year, after they've had a good glimpse of it in Monaco. What did you make of the marshals' handling of the removal of the cars at Monaco and exposing, of course, the brand new floor of the W14 and the floor of the RB19? Should the stewards and the marshals have been more careful in how they remove the cars? And do you really think that we have seen anything that we didn't really know already about how advanced Red Bull were with their aerodynamics compared to others on circuit? Let us know as always in the comments section below. Remember GPFans.com and GPFans Global for all of your latest breaking Formula 1 news.